A more recent trend, specifically around that came up with smartphones, is multi-tier user interfaces, where some of the stages of analysis, filtering, dispatch are happening on a server and not only on the local device. So one of the good examples of that is voice recognition, where you have a server-based voice recognition system which can deal with arbitrary input without any training, which requires a lot of pattern recognition, a lot of processing power, which is not available on the local device. So instead of doing that analysis locally, that analysis is done in the cloud somewhere in a central server, and then the analysis results are being sent back to the device, which might then cause the device to go back to a server and get results from there, or in some other cases may yield immediate results straight back from the server. So for instance, if you are doing a voice search on a search service, you may actually go and take the raw input, the raw signal input that you get, and send that to a server, and the server will immediately reply with a rendered experience which gives you the search results without going through any of the other stages, so you get a complete composition that you can then render on the device. Or sometimes you may just go and do a local analysis, do a remote analysis, come back with the analysis results, and then filter and dispatch locally. On the other side, rendering may also be happening on the server. We're seeing a growth of a number of services which provide, for instance, streaming games, where you're interacting locally with a device. You're giving game inputs to a game, but that game is fully running and fully even rendered on the server. So if you want to project it into a browser, ultimately the browser will only stream video, and the entire composition, the entire collection of the right data, the composition, the rendering happens completely server-side, and ultimately the rendering from the composition happens on the server and then is being played back to you, to your device, just as a pre-rendered set of visuals that you then render ultimately onto the screen of the device. And then there's a set of browsers that exist, Opera Mini and the Amazon Kindle Fire browser. And if you're listening to this years down the road from those devices being released, I'm sure there have been more developments in that area, where you have hybrid mobile browsers, which offload some of the composition and offload some of the filtering to the server, where ultimately the experience is sometimes composed. All the data for the web page is being collected on the server side and then delivered as a single package to the client, which will then go and ultimately just render it for the user, and which takes raw input and will go and dispatch the raw input down to the server so that the server can analyze and can see where it needs to go next to fetch some further information, fetch the next page. So we're seeing the server, we're seeing cloud infrastructures in particular take a much bigger role in interaction. We're seeing that very many interactive experiences are no longer just a local thing that happens on a single device, but they're actually being split between servers and clients, and they become distributed systems experiences.